Hello everyone, welcome to yet another live Q&A. Let's wait for a couple of minutes and let other people join. And if you've already joined, please feel free to ask your question in the chat. I'll be more than happy to take those questions. And if you are hearing some noise, do let me know. I have kept the window open. I will shut it down. Yeah. I'm looking for my phone. I don't know where did I keep it. Oh yeah, right there it is. Got it. Hello. If you have joined now, we're just waiting for people to join, and if there are any questions in the chat, I will take them. But so far, I don't think there are any questions. Hi, Athar. How are you doing? How's your weekend going? You are from mechanical? Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Give your question. Whatever doubts you have, feel free to ask. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. I want to pursue masters in data science, so can you please tell me the syllabus you study in the UK in data science? I think I answered your question in Telegram group, but just to reiterate things, some of the very important modules are programming, and most of the universities, they do cover Python or R. Some of the universities can also teach both of those languages, and some of the universities, they won't cover languages at all. But then the module that they will teach, in those modules they will use Python or R. So you are coming from mechanical background, so I would say look for a course or look for a university where they are covering any programming language, so that would be helpful for you. The next important module is maths and stats, because they are the backbone of machine learning, deep learning, or data analysis. The next one will be machine learning and deep learning, because without that you won't be able to do any kind of predictive modeling. So those are the important modules as well. And other two important modules are big data and cloud computing, because Big data is everywhere, and all the companies are using cloud platform to do all the machine learning, deep learning, or just data science in general. So those are the important modules. And I think you're asking for, can you share PDF? So I don't really have any PDF, but a lot of the universities, if you go to their course page, they do provide some sort of module description, or maybe modules in PDF format. So if you are interested in that, you will be able to download it from the university's page itself. I don't really have any um, PDF. Choose USA or Ireland for masters, which is good for career as a fresher. USA has a much bigger market when compared to Ireland. So if you want more opportunities, more options, I think USA is a better option. But then I think you also need to keep in mind that there are so many universities in US, so a lot of people go there. So competition will also be high. So what I would say is maybe go to LinkedIn and search for data science job or data scientist role, or whichever course you are going to pursue. Search for that on LinkedIn and see, and then also apply the filter based on location. So you can use US or Ireland, and based on that, see how many people are applying for a particular job. And I would say look for those jobs where you get that easy apply option, so that you can you can fully trust the numbers, how many people are applying for that job. Because when you look for other jobs, where when you click on apply, it takes you to a different page. Once you have filled the form, once you have applied for that job, you need to come back to LinkedIn and you need to say that yes, you have applied for that job, and then only it will update. And not everyone does that. So I would say look at easy apply jobs and see how many people are applying for one particular job, and based on that you can see where the competition is much higher. But if we simply talk about options and opportunities, in US you will have much more opportunities. Good afternoon, Abhay. How are you doing? I'm doing good, thank you. Hey, Ashutosh. I'm working as a data analyst. So if you're already working as a data analyst, I think that's good. It doesn't really matter if you're coming from mechanical background or not. So yeah, I think if you're working as a data analyst, you might be good at any other programming languages. So maybe for you, programming language module may not be important, because it wasn't important for me. So I didn't really care about whether the university is providing programming module or not. So because if a university is covering programming, it will anyways just gonna take some time for me, which I don't want to spend on programming, because I already know programming, I'm comfortable with Python. So I did not choose any of the universities where they were teaching programming. So maybe you can also skip that if you're already comfortable with that. You're welcome, Ragula. Only after submitting our IELTS score, our cast interview is scheduled, or without as well? I did not quite catch your question. Maybe if you could reframe it. What does cloud computing and big data modules include? Big data module will have things like PySpark or Spark in general, and maybe some universities will cover Dask, which is not that popular. I think PySpark is the most popular one. So it will include those frameworks, architecture using which um, you can handle big data. Because if you are simply using pandas, And if data is really huge, you may not be able to fit all of the data in your memory, and you may not be able to perform all the processing on whole data at once. So for that you need to know um, frameworks like PySpark. So universities do cover those. Databricks is also another platform where a lot of big data stuff happens. So those kind of things will be included in big data module. As for cloud, they will only teach you about how to use cloud platforms, and they may not even teach you how to use cloud platform. They will give you access to maybe Azure cluster or AWS cluster, even GCP, and then you will have to do all your projects and data science projects and machine learning projects or deep learning projects on that cloud cluster, and that way you will learn how to use those cloud computing platforms. So that's what you will learn in those two modules. What was your age when you moved to UK? uh, I'm currently 28, so I've been in the UK for over 2 years now, so I would say 26, I think. Yeah, I think I was 26. What data analysts do in sales department? Even in sales department, I think there can be a lot of different use cases, but if we just think about the most straightforward role, is that you need to maybe analyze how the sales have been in the past, and what were the contributing factors, which products are doing good, which products are not doing good, and if some products are not doing good, why they are not doing good, and if some products are doing good, why they are doing good, and are there any ways how you can improve the sales, um, and how much profit you're making depending on the sales, because if there are multiple products, they may have different price range. So maybe if you sell expensive stuff, you may make more profit, or if you sell uh, but then you will be selling less number of items. But then if you sell cheaper products, you may not make that much profit, but then you will sell more number of products, and then maybe it will help you to close the gap. So there are a lot of things, without looking at the data, without looking at the business use case, it's really hard to say uh, what they do, but I think this will be the general overview of roles and responsibilities of a data analyst in the sales department. I want to ask, do we get CAS interview invitation before submitting a score? So yeah, you can get, because there are a lot of universities where uh, they don't ask for IELTS score. So I don't know now, but when I was applying for my masters 2 years back, more than 2 years back, a lot of universities, they didn't ask for IELTS, but I had taken IELTS anyways just to be on a safer side. So I had given my IELTS score while submitting my application. But yes, if the university does not have this requirement, you can get CAS interview invitation even without submitting your IELTS score. But if there is a mandatory requirement by the university that you need to submit IELTS score, and if you have a conditional offer where the condition is um, to submit your IELTS score, in that case you may not get a CAS interview without submitting your IELTS score. So is data structures that important? Like, I got no base, bro, just learned C, C++, Python and data analysis. So can you tell, is it important? Um, it's a tricky one to answer, because in not all the companies data structures will be important, but in some of the companies it may be. So if it's a core IT company, in that case I think data structures can be very important. But if it is not a core IT company, In that case, maybe data structures uh, won't be that important. And IT, by IT I mean mostly product-based companies and not service-based companies. But even in service-based companies, they may ask you data structures in interviews, and especially when you are a fresher, you will have those programming. But you are already working as a data analyst. I don't know how much experience you have, but if you have 1 year or maybe less experience, then maybe your first round can be related to programming or data structures and algorithms. So there you will have to demonstrate some sort of understanding related to data structures. So in that case, it may be important. But if you have more than 2 years of experience, I think this wouldn't be a problem. But again, it depends. It's really hard to say that whether it is important or not. But then when you are, this was from interview standpoint, but when you are in the company, when you start working on live projects, I think it's important to understand data structure, which data structures to use, because when handling so much data and when you are actually creating machine learning, deep learning applications, it's very important to understand which data structures to use, how many queries you will receive, how to handle those queries. um, but then again, if you have a separate software development department and then you will be just working in data science department, then maybe it won't be that important. But then if you're working in a small company where everything is being done by data scientist slash software developer, in that case I think you need to understand data structures. So it's a bit tricky question to answer, but these days I think it is getting important to understand data structures. What does customer segmentation mean and how data analysts do it? Customer segmentation means you segment your customer base. So you can do it based on demographic data, you can do it based on geographic data. um, so just to give you an example, if you can divide your customer base depending on their age range, so there can be customers below 18 years, there can be customers below 25, then there can be customers from below 35, and then so on and so forth. You can divide your customer base into a certain age range, and then you can do analysis based on which kind of product they are buying, and which age range is generating most of your revenue, because based on that you can decide what type of marketing you need to do, and then you can also decide which type of products to advertise to them. And then you can also do it based on geographic. So if you are doing it based on geography, you know which region to target. If your biggest customer base is in, for example, let's say US, uh, you may want to heavily advertise in US market, but then you may not want to do it in the UK because the customer base is much bigger in US. And then if you feel like your customer base is much larger in US, then I think if you want to get your users opinion, if you want to understand why they're buying your product or why they're not buying your product, then also maybe you want to collect data from that region. So I think in that case, in that way you will be able to segment your customers, and that's what customer segmentation means. I hope that makes sense. What is the scope of Azure data engineer jobs openings as compared to data science job? So one thing you need to understand is that data science is an umbrella term under which you have data analyst, machine learning engineer, data engineer, deep learning engineer. All these things usually come under data science roles. Well, there is an argument where machine learning and deep learning is completely under AI engineer role, but there is an intersection there. So it totally depends on company to company how they want to uh, name a particular role. So that's there. But as data science is an umbrella term, I think a lot of data engineering roles will also come under data science. So I would say there are more number of data science jobs as compared to data engineer jobs alone. And if you are more specifically asking about Azure data engineer jobs, then that would be even less. What role data analyst plays in marketing in case of manufacturing industry? Um, we have a separate marketing team in our company. Um, they can mostly look at reviews and ratings. They can look at social media data. They can probably look at customer calls, and then they can see what are the positive things uh, from those sources. And then when they are creating an advertisement or they are creating any kind of marketing material, they can add those things, and they can do some statistical analysis on that and say that maybe 90% of our customers say that this feature is the most important and best in class in the market, and then maybe that is what the end user might be looking in. So that kind of thing marketing team can do. They can also look at bad things, and then they can maybe advise the product team to work on those things. So that's something which marketing team can do. But then you can also have a separate customer feedback team where I currently work in. So we do that kind of thing, looking at negative stuff and seeing whether it is a pressing matter or not, and then um, advice to different teams. So yeah, that's what data analyst can do in marketing team. Yo, my leg is all numb. So there is this window, and I have like this much space here. So I usually sit here because I get quite nice light here. So it's always good to do live Q&A here, and then it's always kind of refreshing view from the window. So I tend to sit here, but then for that I need to sit with my legs folded. So sometimes it gets numb if I sit like that for long period of time. So my legs are kind of numb right now. Can you talk about your role, because I have similar job description in my upcoming interview? Sure. So I won't go in detail because I cannot. But yeah, as a customer feedback uh, data scientist, we look at a lot of different data sources. Some of them being reviews and ratings, customer calls, social media data, those kind of things. And then we try to analyze it, and we try to find what are the potential issues with the product, and then we reach out to product team or engineering team, and we suggest them this is the issue which we have figured out, and you may want to look into it. If they already know, well and good. If they don't, that's a good find, and it could be something to work upon. um, but you are asking from data analyst perspective, so I don't think predictive modeling and those kind of things are going to be any help for you. But we also use quite a lot of large language models for summarization and classification sort of things. Well, for classification we use traditional machine learning, but for summarization and Q&A we use large language models. So that's a brief description of my role, and that's what we do in customer feedback team. Anyone in chat section who is taking admission in Hertfordshire University, please let me know. Want a sharing partner for accommodation? Yeah, if you and if anyone here going to Hertfordshire, I think it's always good to buddy up, and if you can post this in the Telegram group or Discord server, maybe if someone is going to that university, we'll get in touch with you, and hopefully you can join each other. Programming Cradle Telegram group, you will be able to find the link in the description. It was quite sunny just a few minutes ago. Now it's all overcast and nicely cloudy. So don't know when it's gonna start raining, but let's hope it does not rain for next 3-4 hours. After that, if it wants to rain, it can. And if you find these live Q&As helpful, please do give it a thumbs up. It always keeps me motivated to come here and talk to you guys, and share whatever I can, try to help you in whatever way I can. So yeah, do give it a thumbs up. I'll wait for another couple of minutes to see if we have any more questions. Well, we have one question now. What about the jobs? Are there any recession? Yeah, job market is not good, because even in my organization, I have seen some of the people got laid off, and it's a huge organization. So some people have been laid off in a pretty closed circle which I had in the organization. So maybe there will be a lot other people who would have been laid off. So layoffs are still going on, but I think our colleague was working in US, so it's pretty easy to lay off people in US as compared to in European region. So, but then overall, the general sentiment of the market is bad. It's not looking good, and even from the leadership side, people are mostly talking in negative terms, so they are not very positive about the economy. So job market is not looking really good. And if I talk about UK job market, um, in past 20 months consecutively, the number of jobs have been falling, but the number of jobs uh, in the market is still more than pre-pandemic period. So the number of jobs in 2000, um, in 2020 January time, it was around 826,000 jobs, and now we have. I'm just looking at Office of National Statistic. Come on. So now we have 908,000 jobs in the market, and it's not just about data science or IT related. It's all the jobs in the market. So we are still above pre-pandemic period, but it has been falling since March, May 2022. So yeah, the number of jobs are still falling. So the general sentiment of the job market is not that good. So how much time will it require to get things better? Really hard question. I can't really answer that, but I can probably just give my 2 cents if that's important or if adds any value. What I think is there are a lot of uh, elections going on in a lot of important countries. So once the election is over, companies will have some sort of security or sense of stability, and hopefully, considering that, job market may become more stable and things will start to look good. But that is only one thing which I think can make things better. There are other issues as well, like Russia Ukraine war, and now Israel Palestine conflict, those things. So there are a lot of things going on around the world, and they all impact in one or the other way. We can't really say anything about those things, but let's hope after the elections things will become much more stable, or at least relatively stable. I'm doing good, Ayush. How are you? How was your interview? Can I connect to you through WhatsApp? I don't do WhatsApp, so if you want to connect, you can connect on LinkedIn, or you can send your message in a Telegram group or Discord server. I do answer questions there as well, so yeah, feel free to connect there. Don't send personal messages on Telegram. I mean, send it on in um, the group. But if you want to send personal message, I think LinkedIn is the better place to do it. I received a rejection from that job and I couldn't go in detail what models I can build with what machine learning techniques. I discussed it, but I think they needed to go in more detail. Yeah, I think that's what we discussed in that session, one-to-one session, where I where I suggested you to maybe look into algorithms their advantages, disadvantages, and which algorithm you will use, because that's what they evaluate in most cases. And if I was in their position, even I would have done the same. So that's why I had suggested doing more research on algorithm side of things. But that's all right. I think you learn a lot of things from that, and maybe um, in next interviews it will help you more. Any plans for technical content? Yeah, a lot of things are going on in the background. I have created a framework and list of topics that I need to cover on the channel, but it's just really hard to get some time out of work. I have this long weekend. We had holiday yesterday, and then now I also have holiday on Monday. So hopefully I will get something done. But yeah, there are some plans for that. If I would have given a data set, I would have a lot better idea what algorithm would be appropriate, because then I would have tried to build it then. Yeah, that's the thing. But you know, when you have data, you will try a lot of things, and then maybe something will work, something won't, and it takes quite a lot of time. But as an organization or as a data science team, what people want is the employee to have that intuition that they know this thing may work for this particular data set, depending on the limitations of the data set or the algorithm, or some of the advantages of the algorithm, and what you may be able to choose. So I think it's always important to have that sort of intuition. And I think even if you wouldn't have been able to tell the exact algorithm to use for the data set, if you had just said that okay, I will use logistic regression, and then if you would have been able to explain them why you would use logistic regression, and what are the advantages and disadvantages of that algorithm, and why do you think this may work, and if your answer would have been satisfactory, I think they would have been fine with that. Or you could have used like multiple algorithms. So it's totally all right. I think it's very important for anyone to understand the advantages and disadvantages and the working of machine learning algorithms, and then depending on that you should be able to answer. So it's fine. Don't feel demotivated about that. There will be a lot more opportunities. How can I grow that intuition? You're definitely right. That intuition will only come by probably two things. One, understanding all the algorithms, how they work, limitations, advantages, those kind of things. That's one thing. The other thing is practice. Work on as many different type of data sets as you can, and then see whether whatever you thought before working on the data set works or not. So usually what we do is, as soon as we get the data set, we start doing EDA, we start applying all sorts of different algorithms, and then see which one is working best. But instead of that, I would say, once you have looked at the business case, once you have seen what kind of columns you have, what kind of data you have, and before you start doing EDA, conceptualize the whole business process, and see whether a particular algorithm will work or not. Just list down all the algorithms which you think may work, and then do exploratory analysis, and then see now those algorithms which you thought about will work or not. Just to give you an example, because that way it will be a little more easier for you to understand. We'll take the binary classification problem itself which you had. So for binary classification, in most cases, logistic regression works really good. Um, and then you can also use SVM, or you can use any tree-based model, right? So you have these options. Now you know that you want to use these algorithms. Now you need to do EDA. In EDA, you will do some correlations, and you will plot them. Maybe you will also do some PCA, and then you will do dimensional reduction, and then you will plot everything on just 2D plane. And from that, if you are able to see a clear line which distinguish two different type of data points, I think the answer is quite clear. You can use logistic regression there. um, Based on that, you can answer the question that, okay, this is the algorithm which I want to use, and then you don't have to try all different algorithms, and it should be fine. But I think for this particular interview, what was important was that you had all the columns. You knew what columns will be there, what information will be there in the data set, and based on that, I think you could have just conceptualized. You could have listed down like multiple algorithms, and you would have suggested their pros and cons in the interview. But again, it will only come by practicing a lot of different type of use cases on a lot of different type of data sets. So I would suggest doing that. If you need help with script curation for content, let me know. I want to work like that. Script, I think you're talking about the video script. A lot of content creators, they do use video script, and I think for them it will work. But for me, I personally find it really hard to follow the script. So in almost all kind of my videos, I just tend to list down the bullet points, and I just turn on the camera, and I just like to speak through things, because that way I feel like it's much more natural, and I just find it really hard to follow the script. So I may not want script curation, but if I can think of some kind of collaboration, or if in some regard you can help me, I will certainly let you know, Ashutosh. And thanks for showing the interest. I am currently doing MSc in AI in the UK. What are companies looking in fresher? Do I have to know like advanced algorithms like transformers and GenAI for the graduate data science role? Absolutely not. You don't need to know all those things in depth as a graduate data scientist. But what you need to know is be really good with your programming skills, be good with your maths and stat. You should know machine learning, traditional machine learning, and traditional deep learning. Those things, if you are all covered from those aspects, I think you should be in a good position to crack those roles. So yeah. One other thing maybe I can suggest, because the competition is really high in the job market. So if you don't understand the nitty-gritty of Gen AI or transformer architecture, I think it's important to know how to use them at least. So if you know how to call, let's say, OpenAI API or Hugging Face API, and then do different kind of summarization and Q&A sort of things in your programming environment, I think that would be helpful, even though you don't understand the whole underlying architecture or working of transformer. That should be fine to start with, but at least having some knowledge on how to build application around GenAI or large language models, I think that would be helpful. So I sent into regression and decision trees. I was able to explain the working and how will we go about doing it and performing this technique, but I think they wanted me to walk them through steps. Yeah, that is a bit difficult, because different interviewers will have different point of view, and they would want to see something from the candidate. So it will always be hard to predict, but I think from your side all you can do is be well prepared. And I think with every interview experience you will always be well prepared for the next one. So I think it was a good opportunity to maybe see what interviewers might be interested in. I started my MS in Jan. Should I start applying for graduate data science roles now? Yeah, you can do it. Yes, but do look at the intake uh, when those roles are going to start. So if most of the times graduate roles start in September October time, but I think you will still be part of your course, so you may not be able to join those roles. So maybe you need to apply for next year's if they are already open, if the applications are already open. If the applications are not open, then you may have to wait until the end of your first semester. Do we do correlation for feature extraction? Yes, you can do that, because uh, if there are a lot of features in your data set, uh, well, feature selection is different and feature extraction is different. Feature selection is the process where you select features from existing features, and feature extraction is where you create a new feature using all the available features. So when you create a new feature, you may want to see the correlation uh, with your target variable, and then see whether there is a correlation using which you can do some prediction. So yeah, you can do this correlation test in feature selection as well as feature extraction. Hey Chetan, doing good. How are you? What's your LinkedIn? Yeah, Roshan Pandey. That's correct. Thanks, Ashutosh. Um, Let me grab the link and post it in the chat. That way, I think it will be helpful. There you go. Understanding the product and business is really important as a data scientist as well. Definitely. If you have some domain knowledge, it always helps in data science life cycle, and if you are building any product, it always helps. So having domain knowledge is always important. Will I fall under the new rule of PSW and 38700 threshold in September 24? Same. Some are saying it's not for students studying or are from the UK. I don't really know. I think I answered this question in the comment section. So I don't know about it. I think we still need to wait for the official confirmation, or I don't know if the official confirmation is already out, because I haven't been able to look at those things in past couple of weeks. Um, but I think I had mentioned different cases, so it may apply, it may not apply. If they are going to bring something, hopefully it won't be applicable for students for September intake, because a lot of people have already applied, they have got offers, and they may well have paid their advance fees and things like that. So hopefully they not apply those rules to people coming in September intake, and it will be applicable for next year Jan intake onward. If that is the case, then I think this threshold won't apply to you. And if people who are saying that students who are already studying in the UK, for them this threshold won't be applicable, in that case I don't think you need to worry about. But again, I have not heard or seen this from official sources, so I may not be able to give you any confirmation or comments on this. How's your work going, Roshan? Everything's great. Everything's all right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, everything is good. It's going out on 14th May. Yeah. Okay. And we just need to wait until then and see what happens, because before we get anything from official sources, it's really hard to say anything. And if people are talking about this, it's all about speculations. And I don't really like to comment on speculations. I just got that interview from LinkedIn Easy Apply, which is great to know that getting interviews from that is possible as well, because I have gotten interviews from Easy Apply before as well. Yes, definitely. In the past, even I used to think like LinkedIn is not the best place to find a job, because even I had applied for so many jobs and didn't really receive any calls from that. But then after sometimes I started getting calls and interview opportunities, and the job which I have right now, it was from LinkedIn. Maybe it was not Easy Apply, but at least it was from LinkedIn, so it does work. So definitely, if you're looking for a job, you should apply on LinkedIn as well, while doing other things which I usually talk about in live Q&As. It's nice and sunny here in Liverpool today. Quite a contrast from the weather compared to past few days. I totally agree. Here also, it's not like completely sunny, but yes, at times it does get sunny, and it's always good to have uh, weather like this, because in the past few weeks it's been raining pretty badly. So I know Python, Tableau, Power BI, Excel, SQL. So should I get MLDL? And yeah, you have pretty much covered all the basic stuff, and I think you are completely covered from data analyst perspective. Now to step into data science, I think starting with machine learning, deep learning, maybe Gen AI, big data, cloud computing. If you get those things done, I think you will be pretty much set. And with those skills, I think it's uh, it's totally possible to get a job in data science job market. So Roshan, do you think will you be changing cities anytime for more job opportunities or anything like that? I don't think so as of yet, because Northeast is actually good in terms of expenses and to live in. You have everything you need here. Living expense is also not too high, so I don't think anytime soon. But nobody knows about the future, right? So uh, I'm not really thinking about any of those things right now. I only know Python by now, bro, and now going for AI and data science combined. That's totally fine. I think the most difficult part is uh, programming, because you can learn syntax all you want, but if you cannot think in a programmatical way, it is always hard to write code. So if you have learned Python, I'm assuming you can write code quite comfortably. So if you have done that much, I think rest shouldn't be that big of a hassle. So you should be fine. What about natural language processing, bro? Is it important? So natural language processing is one of the use cases, so to say. So for example, if you are doing a machine learning task, and if you are working on a textual data, you will be doing natural language processing. But then if you're working on a tabular data, you may not do natural language processing, right? But these days, with the advent of chat gpt and lot of large language models, I think natural language processing is getting more important and important. So when you will be doing your machine learning project or deep learning project, I would say choose some uh, textual data set and try to work on that. Maybe do text classification. While doing those things, you will automatically learn natural language processing. So yes, it is important. Sorry. What are your thoughts on London? London is great. There are a lot of opportunities there. Pay scale is also good, but then there are a lot of companies, they don't really pay that well. One of my friend, he is currently working in London, and he is getting 80,000 k, which is a really good pay scale. But then also it's very expensive to live there. So if you want to if you want to say equivalent salary in northeast would be somewhere around 50-60k, I guess. So yeah, you will save some money while staying in northeast, and it's a bit more peaceful, which I prefer. I personally don't like the hustle bustle of London, so London is maybe not the city where I want to live in. So but in terms of opportunity, pay scale, I think London is great. See you, Chetan. Have a great weekend. Are you planning to travel anywhere in summer? Well, there's no plan just as of yet. I was thinking to go to Lake District this weekend, but it was just raining from past few weeks, and in the weather app also it was showing rain on the weekend. So we thought uh, it's better to just drop the plan for now. Maybe some other time. So yeah, we dropped the plan, but no other plans as of yet. We'll see. What about you? Are you planning to travel anywhere else? Is it possible to get a job as a data scientist or analyst which pays more than 38k? It is definitely possible. I think mostly it will be in London, but it is possible for sure. But will it be easy? I won't say so. As a fresher, yes, I'm answering as a fresher. Right, we are almost about to reach 1 hour. If you found this live Q&A helpful, do give it a thumbs up. And if we don't have any more questions, we do have something. Okay. If I would have some savings, I would have been going to Europe and everywhere in the UK. Yeah, it's bit tight when you are a student and when you're doing your internship or part-time job. Uh, it's a little hard to save, but once you'll have job, once you'll have some stable income, I think you should be able to travel wherever you want. So don't beat yourself up on that. So it should be fine. I was planning on going to India as it's my Easter break at the moment, but I couldn't go because didn't book tickets beforehand. Oh yeah, if you don't book tickets beforehand, it can be really expensive. So I totally understand that. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining. I will see you guys next Saturday 12 p.m. UK time. So have a great weekend. Enjoy this sunny weather if you are in the UK, and I think if you are in India, it's already getting hot, I'd assume. Any plans for further study, PhD, MBA? I was thinking to do PhD when I was in my masters, but then for now maybe not. In future again I don't know, but now I don't really have any plans of PhD. MBA maybe not. So if I ever go for higher studies, it will have to be PhD. Well, who knows? If I feel like MBA is an option that I really want to explore, then I may go into MBA as well. But as of now, no, there aren't any plans for higher studies. Do you think 250 is good price for London to Delhi? It's actually really good, I would say. You're welcome, Athar. 250 pound London to Delhi, it's good. If I was getting that deal, I would take it. Is it a direct flight or is it a there are transits in between? See you, Athar. Bye. Yeah, go ahead with that. I think that's a good price. All right. See you everyone. Enjoy your weekend. Bye bye.